is a time when magic is more powerful than science, and only those who control the magic control destiny. They are the Visionaries.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Welcome to Retro Wednesday, and this is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about something I never thought I'd ever have, even one of these, but this is the entire set of 19 unproduced Visionaries that were never made back in the 80s. Now there is some information, some pictures kind of showing what could have been and would have been if the line didn't get canceled after 12 figures and 4 vehicles. But for the purposes of today's video, we're going to look at these. These are all custom creations from Picture Box Custom Creations, and he did a phenomenal job. I still am in shock that I have these in my collection to show to you. So just strap in, saddle in. We're going to look at every one of these, do a little bit of a comparison to the artwork, not anything too intense there, but just get an idea of the name, what they look like, and the interesting liberties he took as he made these. He did a phenomenal job. By the way, we'll talk about this and more coming up. All right, real quick, before we get into all of this, I do want to show a couple things. I want to show size and scale and how they scale with the original figures. So I do have stands for these two, but they're sized and scaled about the same. One major difference is the fact that he has added some ankle articulation to it on the ball joint, so there's no hole for them to be on a stand, which that's a decision that he made, which is fine. But not having a stand, they are a little bit challenging to keep standing up when they're holding these shields. Now, a shield is not something that we saw with the first series of figures, but we're seeing it with these guys. And looking at them, I also did not have holograms. I had to source out from one guy, made some holograms that worked for some of the chest symbols for the most part, and then I had to myself make a lot of the shield symbols that would work to fill the space on a shield. So a lot of this, the holograms and stuff, which are not truly holograms, are just pictures I had made myself. But with that, the figures themselves and the 3D prints, the paint, the accessories, it's really, really impressive. And so there's how they scale with the original, and let's get into all these fun characters. All right, so the first one we're going to take a look at is Hydron, and I do want to kind of figure out how I can do this and it makes sense, but there's the picture, the art of Hydron, and I think he matched it pretty close. He did some really cool stuff. The weapon accessory matches. Maybe some of the stuff's a little bit lighter. You have to take some liberties with this when this is pretty much all you get. There's a few other pictures from other sources that he was able to look at also. So, starting out, we've got this shield, and it's painted silver, 3D printed, painted silver. It's got quite a bit of detail to this shield. That's really awesome. I cut out the name and taped it to it so I'd remember. As in, I've already forgotten all the names, and so revisiting this, I have a few resources, plus the names on their shields, so I make sure I keep things straight. He does have whatever this is on his shield, and I do think I just enlarged that photo to make that, and then this is I actually think that is Galadria? No. Virulina? No, Galadria's totem or whatever chest symbol. Now this gun, it looks like a bow and arrow, but it probably shoots some sort of laser blast kind of thing, and he has a helmet. So look, all these accessories that go with this guy. His helmet is translucent. He has clear parts, and I do think he has clear parts that are created on his legs. This is next level. The detail that has gone into this figure is amazing. Has ball joints right here and ball joints for the for his elbow, and I think on the hand there's some ball joints. Maybe not. I'm not gonna risk that. But there's the back, which is a lot like what you get used to seeing with like all of these knights with their armor that they have, looking really good. Now you do have some visible ball joints. That was a decision that he made with making these, and I don't mind it, which you do not even notice it from the front. They look fantastic. And they do kind of have a little bit of feel as kind of like when you think about vintage O-ring G.I. Joes to the 25th anniversary G.I. Joes. There's a little bit of difference, but at the end of the day, they blend in really well and they look really good. And I'll get into talk about price on the next one. This one is Hydron like a Hydron collider. All right, so this next one here is Ramazan, and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to pull this off, but we can look at the Ramazan picture without the glare and the figure. So that's the picture that it's based on, and that's the figure. I think it did a pretty good job. Looks like he went with a white, and the picture looks more like a very, very light blue. But I'm okay with the white because it gives more contrast on the shelf. There's actually a couple other colors figures that have a similar color tone to what it looks like in the picture. But it doesn't really matter because it's a cool looking figure. Here's his head. And what an amazing paint job that he did on that. Fantastic. There's his helmet back on there, his chest. Now, one thing that's different from the vintage also is that these are molded in chest pieces. So they don't come off, and then you just put the sticker on there. There's no screwing to it either. So it's a more simplistic kind of... that's just paint right there. So that's not even molded detail in, which is fine. I don't even know where he got all the detail design cues, and some of the stuff he had to just kind of make up as he went, which is great. Look at this weapon. That's pretty cool overall. And yes, they don't have stands, so bumping the table might knock a couple over. So it's no big deal. They stand fine on my shelf, so lean up against something. Let's see if they get a little bit more range in this waist too. So that's kind of cool. We've got some detail there. Anyway, good looking figure. There's his shield. His chest plate is a little bit of reflective, so that was one that was more professionally done than one of the ones I did. Very pleased with this guy. And this one is Ramazan. A lot of ramming in Series 2. So I believe this one to be Craigor. I might have to redo this segment if I'm wrong, but with all my resources, I believe that's him. Very interesting looking figure. I do like I think the chest totem and this, that was all professionally done. Somehow I was able to get those. And yeah, he looks good. I think this is removable. I do think this red piece, for whatever reason, I felt like it was removable. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it was just painted on. Oh, excellent paint job here. It's got molded in red, or printed in red, and then it's got these tan paint going on there. The face, excellent face sculpt. And let's do the quick comparison to, this is what it looked like in there. So on one hand, I kind of want to pose them the way they're posed in this, just because that's how it was. It is a little bit lighter of a red than what the prototype showed, but as you can see, matching up some stuff on here. Good looking figure. I can't even say that all my chest pieces are the correct ones because it's just so much going on with them. Here's the back and lots of more tan paint with him. And we've got this little guy. I don't even know if this guy's got a special name with it. I don't see it on visionaries.net either. But here is this little dude here. And if I can get Craigor to stand, this guy here has a little bit of articulation in, I think, his arms, elbows, knees. And this is just so awesome. So awesome that this little guy's got. And that's like a little extra add-on figure. And went through all that trouble to make it look so good. And it does look good. But part of the problem is my table is a little slanted. So these might be a little bit more back heavy than usual. But I figured it would counterbalance with the heavy shields they've got. Let's also look at his weapon. It looks like a double axe kind of thing going on. Not 100% sure what it's supposed to do, but I guess in the show it'd shoot out a beam of laser or something. That is Craigor. Next up, we've got Malator, who has a ginormous shield. Everything is big on this guy, but here's his shield. There's my little picture I've got going on for his shield. We can move that out of the way. Here is his gun. It's a huge, ginormous gun. One thing about, I am careful with these hands, but they do feel very flexible. Like I don't feel like the thumb's going to break off. But this is kind of one of those things which I don't think he's making anymore. Sure, if I broke something, he would help me out. Take the helmet off in 2 pieces, which is interesting. Maybe just he felt one piece would not go on right or something. And look how that works inside. It just grips to his head better because it's in 2 pieces. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyway, there's his face sculpt. And gosh, that is so good. Like all the paint on this, just it's fantastic. It looks like a real person standing right here. Outstanding. Let me see if I can find the picture And it's probably not going to help us that much because it's a very small picture. And there it is. Just kind of, you can see the shield and the gun. Again, some liberties were taken with them. So that's just the way it is when you're doing something like this that never got produced. And we didn't get a whole lot of actual pictures of these guys other than the very, very few that exist. Enough to make them, enough to get really close. If we actually got a hold of prototypes side by side, I bet you we'd be shocked how close he got. But this one is Malator, and pretty cool figure overall. Now I gotta get the helmet back on him. Next up we have Serator, kind of like a serrated knife kind of dude, and he looks pretty good overall. He does have this shield, and he can hold it, or he can just hold on to that in front of him. I think it's easier to have him stand like that. But a lot of intricate detail to the back of the shield, and of course I got his name on it. I'm now noticing a few of them I don't have the name on, so I probably should fix that while I got time. And then here we go with his head sculpt, looking amazing. Chest sticker, I hope I got the right one on there. Really great looking helmet. The purple and the yellow look great. They pop. Excellent color schemes going on. I'm not sure if this was molded in to match that or just painted. Oh yeah, that is molded. I can see it now right there. Very nice. Little spikes on the side of the boots. And quite a bit going on in the back. Actually, there's a figure that looks similar to this that Super 7 made. I kind of put it in with Dungeons and Dragons, but kind of a similar concept going on here. And I don't even know what it is. I just know that it says Super 7 on it, and I got it for $5 at a local toy shop when we were out hunting around, but pretty cool looking. Now, I've got to say this about these figures. I was really thinking when I first found out he was making these and he wanted $50 a piece, I thought that's too much, especially if you're, you see he's making like 10 at a time or something, 10 of the same figure. You're like, 50 is too much. Now that I have them and own them and realize that there's probably a chance he's not going to make any of these ever again, $50 is a steal compared to never getting anything like this ever again. So no option versus $50. I think that is fantastic. Plus the level of work and the paint that went into them, I'm still in awe of it. And then the weapon, and I just didn't realize how much detail he was going to put into the weapons and all of that. Fantastic job. Materials feel good, and for being 3D printed, it just doesn't feel so much like a 3D printed. It's probably a resin printer too. That's probably why it feels so smooth and looks so good. This one again is Serator. I do not have his picture on my stuff here, so maybe I'll find one and put it up, but Serator. Next up, we have Sly Wire, and this is another interesting looking figure. And looking at the sheet, he looks a little boring, but then when you look and you say what was actually made versus what they were showing in the sheet, it looks good. Now, for whatever reason, because he does take his liberties here, I don't see that his backpack actually connects. Maybe it does. Maybe I missed something. The backpack looks like it's supposed to connect to this, to the shield. So you've got these little dots, these little pegs, and there are holes right here. I tried that. Didn't really work for me, but maybe I should try again. Yeah, it doesn't really hold. He put the thought into it, and he did go the mile to do it, but it, oh, wait, oh, whoa, it holds. I don't really understand what this is supposed to do, what the whole point of it is. It does work, barely. And with that, I mean, I'm not going to push it, and I don't need it to do anything. I like the setup with his backpack and his shield, and he has this little stun gun. It's like a cow prodder. And then his backpack, which is reminiscent of Blizzard from G.I. Joe in a way. And I think some of the ideas, I do see the scan lines in that, but I don't see the scan lines in a figure. Maybe if I zoomed in, I'd probably see it, but still looks amazing, just phenomenal. And it's not like, is this side smooth? Let's see how it plugs in. There's still detail on the other side. Looks fantastic. I mean, this dude is next level. Next level. Let's check the head out. There's the head sculpt. And that looks really good. Very nice. Very nice figure overall. Done a great job. He's got giant things going on his lower legs there. Just makes him look bulkier, bigger, meaner than he probably really is. And there's his little chest symbol and his shield symbol. which I follow all of these pictures. And some of this, I think these were ones I literally just blew up from my little picture I have over here to make them. But good looking figure, Sly Wire, probably a spy. All right, so the next one we have here is Lizor Lash, and he's all in green. Now there's a couple other ones that carry the green color scheme. I think the only green one in the original line was Doc Storm, but he does look really cool. A very interesting looking figure. Let's start with his head sculpt. And he kind of looks like a young dude, blonde hair. Looks pretty good, pretty cool overall. I don't see that I have a picture of him that I can show, but still looks pretty good. Yep, I think I found one. There it is. There's the picture right here, Lizor Lash. And how close we got with the shield and the weapon and the whole design of the figure looks pretty good. Got the silver on the elbows and all of that going on. Now, this weapon looks like a double axe. It's really what it is, a very short double axe. And look at the detail in this shield. That's just phenomenal. The amount of work that had to go into just making the weapons and accessories is phenomenal and next level. And you look at down here with this little post that's going on. Very interesting stuff, and kind of puts it to where you could probably kneel and hold that while you're kneeling, and there's probably more to it. And I do believe, let me look at this, I do believe that this is supposed to be able to clip into here. I'm not going to stress it and flex it or anything. It doesn't look like it. It should clip into here. And I'm not going to stress it, but it just feels like that's what should happen with it. Again, these are just display pieces. These are not supposed to be functional toys in any way, shape, or form. They're not going to be able to hold up to rigorous play or connecting the double axe to the shield. And I don't care. Just nice that that's included, that was a feature and worked on. Don't know what his chest symbol is, so he just gets the horse, the unicorn or whatever. And then got this little freaky looking dude over here, which I think that's just like, looks like a demon or something on the back. So it's got etched in or designed in knives, giant daggers, small daggers, and painted blue. And this green and the silver that's going on. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And actually, you know what? I don't think any of this stuff is just the straight up resin. I think it's 100% painted head to toe. I don't think any of this is straight resin. And the more I look at it and the more I'm interacting and feeling on these, filling them up here. But that's Lizor Lash, and pretty cool figure overall. All right, this one here, it's not the last one, but I think this one is Cybron. That's my belief, that this one's Cybron. There's not a prototype that I saw for him in my pictures that I have printed, but the print up from Visionaries.net shows Cybron. It actually shows him having some goggles on his helmet, which I don't see in here. There is some stuff going on with the helmet. Interesting. Cool looking head sculpt. All these faces look so good. Just very well, very, very detailed. Very great job done there. Then, so he's either cast in or painted in this kind of a pearlescent white. And he's got this, which looks like another cattle prod type of weapon, but it's different. And then there he is from the back. Now he's got this thing on the back that's just put on there. That's cool. I wonder if they're removable. I'm not going to try to remove them, but they move. And evidently they're just a separate piece that probably can come off. I'm not going to take them off, though. I'm going to mind my P's and Q's, but that's really cool. Little red stripe down the side. Odd stripe going on through there, which probably is something he's got going on. And then looks like another demon on his chest. I don't know if I got the right one either. I think Cybron's an android or something along those lines, but he's a pilot. I also believe that. A driver of sorts, Cybron. Alright, next up we got Ramach. And of the color schemes, I thought I did not like his color scheme versus the rest of them. I thought he has a lot of interesting stuff going on with him, but as for his color scheme, I didn't like it. The more I look at it, I was like, he feels like he's eternally stuck in the 70s. with this color scheme. Even his sword is this strange color. That's it's interesting though. It's different. It sets it aside. I think that just making them all silver weapons and accessories, maybe getting him a different color sword, was a good idea from Hasbro there to do that. And then here's his shield, which is very interesting. Looks like it doubles as a laser or something, and it's a shield. And there is his chest symbol, which I have no idea what that is. Another evil demon looking thing on him, but pretty good looking figure. His antlers are soft, so I don't know how he worked that out. That's very impressive. And then there's the sword's hard and all that kind of stuff. Ramach, another one, does some ramming. Now we're done with the Spectral Knights. We're going to get into the Darkling Lords. It's another 9. So we've done 9. We've got 9 more to go. And I'm going to say $50 each. You're looking at about $1,000 to get this. It's way more than I thought I would ever want to put into a series like this. And now stopping to think though, this is very impressive. I don't see anyone else doing this, and not even multi-billion-dollar corporations like Hasbro. Let's do the prototype comparison, because look how close this thing is to the prototype. This is probably the closest out of all of them to the prototype, and very impressive. Shield might be a little bit on the small side, but there are different pictures that show different options, and I think the fantasy art pictures are also out there. I think some of this stuff is based on the fantasy art, not so much the prototypes. Next is Pyro, the first of the Darkling Lords, and Pyrotechnics. I am the fire starter. Yeah. So he looks all mean, like he's the fire starter, and he has this giant staff, which the only one that comes with a staff. All the rest of the first series ones came with a staff. This is very reminiscent of what the first series staffs look like. So those all had just a straight line down, and this has some extra detail. So they wanted to go a little above and beyond, not copy what they did before. And so with that, looks good. He's got a demon on his chest and a weird looking, looks like 2 demons doing something. Dancing? And then he's got this nice gold laser gun, sticking with the gold, the gold, and the gold, and the gold. Now here's the thing. Here's his back, which looks kind of crazy. And his helmet on, he looks evil, mean. He's the fire starter, like Satan incarnated. And then you take his head off and he's like, let me tell you about the bowl of oatmeal. Quaker Oats was really good this morning, and you should try it yourself. You know, it's like he does not look like, and this matches the art, which we're about to see. Does not look like Pyro, fire starting Pyro guy. But let's see if we can get the picture in there. There's the picture of the figure, of the prototype, and it looks really, really, really close to what we have going on right here. Maybe the red's a little darker on the prototype, but I'm very satisfied. This dude looks very much like the source material, but also, let's leave his helmet on so he looks super mean. Next up we got Cyclar, which I don't think it's going to show up very well, but there's the picture. Maybe we can get it in a little bit better. There's the picture of the prototype, matches the shield. Again, this is another one that probably had some liberties taken with it because of terrible prototype artwork that we would get from this stuff. But he is a cool looking figure overall, and I like the purple. So the purple always kind of like gets my attention. I like it. He's got a double barrel laser gun thing, which is painting the silver tips on the end, which is awesome. Maybe they're missile launchers that launch. And then there's his chest symbol. Now this is a homegrown chest symbol and homegrown shield symbol. It looks like kind of like a spiderish looking thing. And then there's a detail on the back of it too. Of course, I got the label. Found like I got 3 or 4 or 5 maybe that don't have labels on them. I don't know what happened. All those labels are gone. There's etched in detail in here. He's got spikes. Really good looking stuff overall. And then let's take this off. So it's a partial helmet. Doesn't cover the whole face. He looks like a pirate. Arr. Very beautiful paint job on the face and getting all the detail, the different colors. What are using 3 or 4 different colors on here, plus the wash just to make them look real. Phenomenal, just phenomenal. All the paint work that went into the helmet itself, phenomenal. And so I want to get into a quick rumor, and maybe nothing's coming of it, but People are saying that there's rumors in Hasbro right now about the Visionaries, a deal of somebody buying out the Visionaries, probably just licensing it. But if that's true, that's awesome. But will we get Series 2? Next up we have Lizor, and I'm trying to figure out the best way. I want to show this first, the prototype picture and what we got, how similar so much of this is. So similar, it's hard to get without a glare and show all of this. Very, very, very good job. And I don't know if it was really worth spending like 15 bucks to enlarge every one of those and get separate prints. Maybe it would have been worth it, but anyhow. This is a very cool looking figure, kind of a neon green look going to him, which really does match the prototype. And remember, this was the late 90s, like 88, 89 they would have come out. And that's getting really awfully darn close to the neon era. So we were not in the neon era. They're not all having something neon, but we're approaching, and they did this with a few other figures in the Joe line leading up to the 90s. But let's look at the shield. Looks pretty good. Nice looking shield over here. Very great job on the detail. How they have these wing flares on the side. And looks like kind of like a apparition of a ghost kind of thing. Another demon looking dude on the chest. They all have demon looking chests. This is interesting too. It's like got some spikes on it. It's kind of like giant brass knuckles, but with tip on the end there. It's kind of fun. There's the little label for him, and he's got a little jetpack looking thing on armor. And it looks like he's got like hair coming out of there, but that's not, I don't know exactly what that is. This is so much detail in every aspect of this, every one of these. Truly got to take the time to just appreciate every bit of detail that went into these figures, with just a little rim that goes around here that just kind of picks up with where that picks up with. That's awesome. Fantastic job on this figure. And this heavy shield, trying to get them to stand up. They can lean back in my display, so it's no problem. So I do kind of a little bit of a lean back to stand them freestanding. Counterbalance the weight. Lizor. Next up we got Ostein, and no, his name's not Joel or whatever, and he's not the one that says that you just party all the time and just be a good person, you'll get into heaven. Not that guy. This is actually a bad guy. This guy here, it's strange what color of his accessory, and I do believe that this is a driver also. And man, he's looks like he's got a skeleton, whole skeleton thing going on with him, and there's this chest symbol, and I think I got that one straight from the artwork. So that's the only way you could get any pictures of him is through just artwork. There's no physical figure made. I mean, prototyping up like 16 figures or 15 figures was already enough work. Then having to go out of your way to figure out how to do the rest of them and say, hey, we're canceling the line, but we still have the artwork, this is so awesome. So it's extra printed stuff right here that clips onto the back or glued onto the back. Anyhow, this is really an amazing looking figure. No helmet though. And so it's the same thing with, I think Cybron was the same way. Well, he actually had a helmet. Never mind. So this is the only one I think that doesn't have a helmet. And that's fine with me though. Unless I'm not pulling hard enough to take the helmet off. But no, there's no helmet. And you know what? Come to think of it, I don't know about head articulation on these guys. And I'm not gonna push it to break it. Ostein. Next up we have Brax. Now I display him with his shield off, but it's a really cool option that we have here to put this shield, clip it into here, to this handle that he's got. So that's an option. And then this kind of rests against his chest, so just so interesting how that works. And there's his, he just didn't have a chest. I could have done better now. I could have done better on his chest sticker. I'll probably do that down the road. Then he comes with this, well, it kind of looks like a little small arm, kind of bow and arrow kind of thing, little bow launcher. So he looks like next to the prototype figure, very, very close. The blues are lighter. The face is just a little bit different. I mean, I feel like the prototype face is a lot softer. We can pull this up too. Prototype face looks a lot softer than the actual face that we got, which does look fantastic. Anyway, Brax, brakes. Those are the brakes. All right, next up we have Croy. Croy does look very good. And let's see Croy as in a coiled up snake and another demon on his chest. Let's see how close. I think I got the right demon on there. There's the Croy. And it's not the greatest picture in the world, but still looks good. Modern editing might be better off doing some modern editing with this. Still a great looking figure overall. I think he looks awesome. Let's get his head. You know what? There it is. I knew there was one that didn't have a helmet that removed. There it is. I said there was two, and there's another one that doesn't have a removable helmet. Looks like it'd be a removable helmet, but it doesn't remove, which I don't have a problem with that either. So anyway, his shield is very detailed. Everything is different. Nothing at all is reused in this. Nothing. And since there's not even ball jointed, the feet aren't reused. The hands aren't reused. There's no reuse like Hasbro, Marvel Legends, and all that kind of stuff. This is all new molds. 19 of them from the ground up. All new molds. All new 3D printed STL files. Just insane. Absolutely insane. And so you think about this. How much time and effort went into this. And I think you only made like 10 sets. So 10 of each figure. This is insane. Very awesome. Very awesome looking figure. I love how the dark green, the hunter green, along with the black, and then just those yellow eyes, and the amazing paint job on the face. Fan-freaking-tastic. But this one is, again, Croy, is a coiled up kind of snake. Next up we have Aquar, which just with the color scheme and the way he looks, I feel like he'd be a good guy, but he's a bad guy, and he's Aquar. I do feel like the artwork would lend for him to be a little darker. And there he is, the Aquar versus... but hey, you got... now the shield is really close, and like if you look at it from this angle, the shield kind of matches more than straight up like that. Again, liberties taken. I feel like this piece would protrude downward. But again, I don't care. I think it's cool that this even exists. The sword is really, really close. Very nice work done here. Now, my stickers suck on this one, so I figure I'll upgrade it one day. One day, I will. There's his head sculpt, which looks great. His helmet just looks awesome. Seamlessly, just so beautiful. The post-production on this, after the print, to the paint, to the everything, just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Aquar. All the detail on the shield. The painted stuff. The detail down here that doesn't even really get any... You don't see the paint on it. Just fantastic. To match each one. Each one's like a major project. I think it took over a year to make these. I think it did take over a year. Still fantastic figure. Aquar. I just think of that song Aquarius when I read that name. Next up we see Craigor, and I bet you if I dug a little deeper I can find out which one of these is the leader. I always feel like it's either him or the next one that are the new leader of the Darkling Lords. But is there really a new leader of the Darkling Lords? Did something happen to Darkstorm, or did he go on vacation? But how do we get 9 new characters of each? How does that get introduced? Anyhow, very interesting looking stuff. There's his totem, shield, and interesting looking weapon. Let's look at this picture here. And there he is, Craigor, and matches it really, really well. Of course, I have the shield set up a certain way so they all fit on my shelf just right, so I don't have them matching the way they're being held with the shield and the weapon and all that. But fantastic, right, spot on. I like kind of the gray and the black there. Now, earlier we saw one that was pretty much all white. And I felt like this color would have been closer to what the artwork looked like. But I don't mind. It's just, got to take some liberties. Hey, someone's doing this. and I'll let them take all the liberties they want if it's going to look this good. Let's show the head sculpt. That is a nice looking head sculpt. Got that whole goatee going on. That's a true goatee because there's a split up in there. You know, goats have that chin hair on their chinny chin. Craigor. Last up, we've got Draculon, the one with the coolest name. You just have to say it like that. Draculon. Draculon is a really cool looking figure. I do dig the purple he's got going on. I do dig everything that is going with this dude. Looks like he's got a bat on his shield, so I did get a professional looking decal for that. And I think I got it looks like an owl on his chest, but maybe it's like a serpent, like a lizard. Let's see if I turn it, if it shows up better. Like a lizard serpent. So some of these had the professional decals that available to get your hands on, and some did not. But there's his head and how he looks. Very good. And he's got like giant kind of teeth would be worked into that. Cool stuff going on in the back here. Just the same armor. So much detail all over this guy in the person. And then these look like fangs or something coming out of the shield. Draculon. And then the accessory, just very simple, simplistic. Something that, like, you got a vintage accessory that looked like that, you'd just be like, yeah, that's the accessory. But it matches. It matches the world and how it should work. Let's see how it matches the prototype. And this is one where I do believe he was supposed to be dressed in black. I do feel like he was supposed to be dressed in black. The artwork probably showed him a little bit more with these colors. And so artwork inspired versus the prototype inspired. And so smaller shield, that is in the artwork. And I think the smaller shield looks cooler, but which one would Hasbro go with? I mean, that would be interesting to know. Probably never know. Probably wouldn't even be a HasLab to do all this. But very, very impressive work done here. Draculon. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this look at the Series 2 Visionaries, Spectral Knights, and the Darkling Lords that never got made. And these 3D printed figures that actually have so much to them, all the accessories and weapons, and a couple of stylistic decisions that were made there. But Picture Box Custom Creations did a fantastic job making these figures, and I'm really impressed. Very thankful I have them in my collection. And with that, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think Hasbro will ever dust off this idea and make them? Because I sure do not. I do not see these getting made under any circumstances. And I think, sad to say, I don't think he's making these figures anymore, but I do think he's making the Virulina and the Galadria and a Merklin. So anyhow, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Happy Retro Wednesday. Tell your hanger out.
Yes, and now you must try. For those who succeed, the rewards are very great.
I have no interest in playing your game any longer.
Yes.
So be it.